Hello there, this is Dimitris Christou, and for this video we're going to take a quick tour, well, perhaps it will be slightly longer than quick, on the Futuristic Kit blend file I'm sharing on Blender Market, and we're going to see what the Futuristic Kit includes and what you'll be getting should you download the file to support me. Now from layer 1 to layer 5 we have the scenes included in the Futuristic Kit blend file. I'm at the first layer, and over here what I'm having is the Robo Dude Bust, and all the scenes use objects taken from the Futuristic Kit and put together. And the reason I've put them here is to prove actually that you can use those objects to build nice, cool stuff in Blender. I'm going to select the camera, right mouse button, click to select it, and hit Ctrl and 0 to change the active camera to the selected camera and look through it. And let's take a quick look. I'm going to change from solid to rendered. Now this is the first layer. This is an image I've uploaded on my blog over at graphicsdaily.blogspot.com. This is the Brazil file, and this also uses a particle system. You can see the particles in the scene. This looks pretty interesting. Okay, changing back to solid. Let's move over to the second layer, and on the second layer we're having this file right here. Now I have some text files, you can see them right here. These won't be rendered if you find them on your scene, don't worry. You can't render them. These are just to give you some advice on the selected layer and scene. So for this one you have to set the world to black RGB, so move over to the world options and change the world to black or to almost black. I rarely set my world to be 100% black. Let's set it to 0.005. And this also uses objects taken from the Futuristic Kit. Now I'll hit Ctrl and 0 to see through this layer's camera. And let's quickly change it to render to take a quick peek at the scene included. And again, these are the scenes I've put together. These are the scenes I've rendered and uploaded on my blog. And you can see how this one looks pretty interesting. Okay. Let's move over to the next layer. I'm going to change again back to solid. Well, I hope I will. Okay, solid. Alright. Now this is the third scene. This is an abstract-ish scene. You have to set the world to black RGB for this one as well. And again, using objects from the Futuristic Kit file, and we'll get to the objects. We have the first 5 layers where we're having the scenes. Now let's look through the camera of this layer and let's change the viewport setting to rendered. Okay, as you can see, pretty nice, pretty crisp files. Obviously the render uses the cycles render and they look pretty nice. Okay, that's the third scene. And moving over to the fourth layer, and we're going to change again to solid. Now this uses an object, a complex object that is also included in this file. So this text file over here says we should change the world to sky texture. I'm going to change the color of the... Okay. Click right here and change it to sky texture. And I'm going to move the sky a bit. I'll also increase the strength. Let's set it up to 5. I'm selecting the camera and hitting Ctrl 0 to take a look through this layer's camera. Okay, and I'm going to change from solid to render to quickly see how this scene looks. Okay. And its camera has some depth of field settings. I'm selecting the camera and move over to the settings. We have some distance for this specific camera, the size for the depth of field effect. Okay, pretty interesting scene as well. Changing back to solid, and let's move over to the 5th layer and to the 5th scene included, and this is the latest scene and pretty much one of my favorites. I love it. Now selecting camera and hitting Ctrl 0 to look through the camera. Changing from solid to render. These are the 5 files that are included in the futuristic kit file. You'll be getting those scenes, those files, when you get and download the futuristic kit. Now we have to change the sky, set it to something dark. It looks pretty nice as it is, but I'm going to change the sky texture to RGB and then make it dark at about here, and then wait a bit to see how this scene here looks. Pretty interesting, pretty nice. Now this scene uses an image, and the image is also provided in the file. Okay, looking good. Interesting scene as well. Changing over to solid to move over to the main stuff here. Okay, now on to layer 6. What we're having here is the futuristic kit objects. Now we have 55 objects on this layer. These are single mesh object. That means that if you select an object and hit the tab key, you're having a single mesh and you can see it and modify it as one mesh. Now these objects have some pretty nice topology here. You can see. I'm also using the modifiers. Modifiers are not applied on the objects whenever used, so that means that you can say select this object, hit 7 for the top ortho view, hit the A key to deselect all, hit B, click and drag, select those vertices, and hit Z and Y to grab and move on the Y axis. And as you can see, we can easily make this object longer should we need for our scenes in Blender. Okay, so these are the objects. We have objects that use the subdivision surface modifier, and we get simple polygonal objects like those right here. Some simple nice modeling, pretty sharp, pretty clean stuff for all the objects here. Now I'm also having, you can see the spherical objects, and I'm also having some tubes right here, and those tubes, and again the modifiers are on. So we have the array here, and you can increase the count if you want to have a longer tube and all that. Alright. Now moving over to the 7th layer, and we have this second pack of objects. I'm having 43 objects right here. As you can see, some pretty nice objects. I'm having this little nice column. I've put together an image for this object as well on my blog on graphicsdaily.blogspot.com. Pretty nice object, lots of detail here, and there are a few objects that could cover the submission cost of the entire collection. Again, this object is also used on the graphics daily for the daily image. Okay, looking good. We have the scables right here. And again, these are single mesh objects, but you can easily modify them. I'm hitting the tab key. Okay, hit A to deselect, hitting 7 for the top auto view. And now I can hit the B key, select, click and drag, and then G and X to grab and move on the X-axis and make my cable here longer. Obviously, if you work with this object, you can do a lot more than just pulling some faces around. You can modify them easily. And again, some nice polygonal objects without subsurf and all that. You can see this one right here. I'm hitting the tab key to switch from object to edit mode. And selecting this one and hitting the tab key to take a good look of the object. Okay, pretty nice. Now over here I'm having this little tags, these little signs. And these are not images. I'm going to select one of them and hit the tab key to switch from object to edit mode. And as you can see, this is polygonal object. And not only this is a polygonal object, but it also uses text that has been cleaned out. So you're not getting those funny vertices and faces here on the text. The text is being reworked so that it uses the right amount of faces and not getting any funny stuff out of it. You can also see it right here. Hitting the tab key and moving close to take a look. You can see how those letters are put together. Alright. Now hitting tab to switch back to object mode. And you can see the objects. Okay, pretty nice. Now we have 43 objects on this layer and 55 on this one. We have 98 objects here. Alright. Now over onto the next layers, what I'm having is that some complex objects. Those complex objects, I didn't want to put them together into a single mesh, simply because they're using lots of different stuff. So now we're having this part here that uses subdivision surface and this part right here that is a simple polygonal object. These objects here are put on separate layers. I'm also using a text object here that you can hit the tab key and change it as you wish. Now these objects are put together in groups, and you can see that by selecting this text right here we're getting a green outline, and that means that the entire thing is put in a group. Now you can add those objects by hitting Shift A and adding group instance and selecting the group that you want to use. Okay, that's on the 8th layer. Let's move over to the 9th layer. And we have this object right here, and I've also used this one on one of my dailies. Pretty nice, pretty crisp object. And again, using some curves, this is a curve, and some polygonal objects, and then some objects that use the subdivision surface modifier. And I'm going to select this glass here of this panel and hit H to hide. What lies below the glass object is not an image. This is also made out of objects. And we're having a simple plane here that uses an array modifier. And you can change the array settings. You can bring the count up or down. And you can also hit the tab key and say hit S and X to scale the middle lines here on the X-axis. Okay. You can select those arrows here, hit the tab key, select one of them, hit the L key to select linked, and then hit G and Z to grab and move it on the Z axis and put it at about here. Alright. Now tap to switch from Edit Object Mode and Alt-H to put the glass back. And let's take a quick look at this object. Let's see how it looks when rendered. Okay, I'm going to change the sky to something brighter so we can clearly see the object. Not that bright. Okay. Alright. And this is how this one looks. And again, this is not an image as you saw. This is an object you can easily modify. Alright. Moving on to the 10th layer. Okay. We have this object right here, and again everything is put together and put in one layer and in one group so you can easily append and use in your scenes. We have this object that is used on this scene right here, and as you can see on this scene we have the faces and trees are set to 670. And this is just the text, everything else is just the group instance. Okay. Let's see it. And using the futuristic kit object, put everything together right here. Okay, you can easily modify this object as well. Now moving over to this layer, and this layer uses the screen, hosts the screen actually, that is being used on the 5th scene. Okay, let's see it. There is also some nice detail you can see in the scene at the back of the screen. And this is also put together in a way that can be easily modified. So I'm selecting the screen and hitting R and X to rotate on the X-axis, and you can rotate the screen. And you can also see how it looks in the scene by modifying the object that is used in a group. We're also changing the group instance. Now back here, and obviously you can select the screen arm, hit G to move it, and then the entire thing follows. Alright, moving over to the 13th layer, I guess. Okay, we have this little object right here, and again this is a complex object. This uses, I'm hitting the Z key, this uses curves, text, and some simple polygonal objects, and then this entire object that uses the subdivision surface. And I'm going to quickly change to render to take a look. Okay, this is how this one looks. Alright, and changing back to solid, we're going to move over to the next layer, and again another object that uses a different amount of objects going on. So again, this is put together in a group. You can see that by selecting an object we're getting this line, nice little green outline. Alright, and on to the final object, the final layer actually. We have this bonus object, which is this big, actually a huge UFO, and we're going to take a look at how this one looks. I'm selecting camera and hitting Ctrl and 0 to switch my active camera to the selected camera, and I'm going to bring the world down. Let's set it down to at about 001. Okay, we won't render. Let's change this one to render to take a look. Alright, this is the bonus object. This is a UFO object, pretty detailed. Okay, and you can see how this one looks. Alright, changing back to solid. This is actually it. These are the main objects of the collection. You can see on layer 6 and layer 7. And I'm having some little nice stuff here. You can see, for example, I'm having 4 kind of floor objects here, and let's select one of them. Okay, going to quickly change to rendered, and let's bring the sky color up so we can see what we're getting at about here. Okay, and these floor objects use an array. Let's select them so you can expand or make the array smaller, and I'm changing the count here of the array. As you can see, this right now is set to 1. Let's set it to 2, so you can easily bring them in your scenes and all that. Okay, changing back to solid. So this is it. This is the Futuristic Kit collection. You have 5 scenes, 98 single mesh objects, and also 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 complicated objects that put together in groups. And now I'll move over to my PaintShop Pro, good old PaintShop Pro. I want you to see the images I've put together using the Futuristic Kit objects. And we have the files that are included in the Futuristic Kit file. You can see the Brazil, the ANT Futu. You're also getting this file right here. You can see the object used in the end of the line file, the diagonal file, the tip top, the cocoon, the Cosmos dice, and the dystopia, the Acropolis, and the Eric of Jen, and the reunion image right here. And all those images use objects taken from the Futuristic Kit file. So this is it. This is Dimitris Christou. I hope you enjoyed this nice tour of the Futuristic Kit collection that I'm putting on Blender Market. Hope you like what you see, and thanks for watching.